Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESV TV Korean Weekly Season 3. We're going to jump into our next match. It's going to be in round 2. It is Shine against Lure. Let's take a look at these players. Get the overlays updated here. Where are they? Alright, there we go. Shine against Lure, so it's going to be a PVZ here. Now, Shine, a Zerg player from TSL that I've had a little bit of exposure to in the Korean Weekly, but most of what I've seen is his DVZ, which is quite impressive. I remember he beat Xenio in like some actual standard macro ZVZs, which just kind of blew me away. So, but I don't know much about Lure. As you said, I mean, when we were talking between the matches, something about he actually qualified for Code A while he was teamless.
Yeah, I believe so. I really, like I said, don't know too much about the guy, so I'm excited to see him play, particularly against Shine, because like you said, you know, the TSL, like, okay, they've got pull, but aside from pull, they're kind of a Zerg team, and so they've really, I think they were ahead of the metagame in a lot of ways. Some of their insistence to use Ultralists a lot was sometimes problematic in how they are using them. But the TSL Zergs just continue to impress, and they innovate a lot, I think. So I'm excited to get this series underway.
Hell yeah, man. The first map is going to be on ESV's Cloud Kingdom. We haven't seen it yet today, so I will go over the map briefly here. That is Frigid Pass, but there it is, ESV Cloud Kingdom. This map has just flourished in the scene lately, which I'm so happy about, because when I first saw this map, I was like, oh my god. This map looks so sick. I can't wait to play games on this map. And now, look at it. It's in the ladder. It's in GSL. It's TL Map Contest winner. It's just, it's doing well, man. It's in lots of big tournaments, and I couldn't be happier for Super OU, man. Just such a sick map. So here are the two main bases of this map, of course. It's a ladder map, so everyone should know this map by now, but just briefly go over it. Natural, pretty easy to defend. The choke point is pretty darn small, something that is really characteristic of Super OU man maps. He really likes small choke points at the natural so that it's easy to defend against cheeses, and you can use force fields effectively, wall-offs effectively, etc. Even on top of that small choke, then you have your ramp leading down into the middle of the map, has destructible rocks blocking the majority of it. In fact, this pathway leading between the two naturals, all four of these ramps have destructible rocks blocking the majority of them. None of the other ramps on the map, though, do. All the other ramps that you see are just open and freely accessible. There are two zone locket towers on this map that are extremely important. They're on the low ground. So, I mean, this area in the center is high ground. And on the low ground, you have zone locket towers, which are a little bit hard to hold because, you know, your opponent can just come forward with units on the high ground, shoot down whatever unit's holding it. So it creates a nice little interesting dynamic there. Third base is pretty natural to take over here, especially in PVZ, although sometimes Zergs will actually go ahead and take this base instead north of their natural or south of their natural if you're in the top right position. But the fourth is where this map gets really interesting and extremely difficult, which is why it's so fun to watch pros play on it. I hate when I'm playing on it. I'm trying to think of fourth. I'm not going to lie. It's so ridiculously difficult. But watching pros do it is freaking awesome because they're so smart about it. So you might just go take these three bases. Then it's like, well, do you take this base where it's really wide open, you have entrances on all sides? Or do you take this fourth, which is closer to your third and therefore might be easier to defend, but it's got this ramp leading in, it's got this giant choke point in the center, it's got all this area behind it where infestors can come and fungal your probes, etc. Or do you try to take a ninja fourth in the bottom right-hand corner? It has fewer choke points leading into it, but of course it's farther away from your bases, so harder to defend in that regard. There's a lot of small choke points on this map. There's also a lot of wide open spaces, so it's a map that is really, really rewarding for players that specifically put a lot of attention into positioning and actually care about where they're engaging. If you just kind of attack move on this map, you're going to lose most of the time at least. But if you really care about where your army is and positioning, you can just set yourself up for excellent engagements here. So let's jump into this game, get it started. Here it is, guys. Game 1 in this best of 3 between... Oh, where's my starboard? There it is. Between Shine in the 7 o'clock position, representing Team SCV Life as our red Zerg, against his opponent in the 1 o'clock position, Lure as our yellow Protoss, representing Old Generations. I am Orbcaster. With me is Adabisi today. And you guys should totally follow us on Twitter. I am ORBTL. Adabisi is AdabisiSC. And while I'm throwing out plugs, we have a new YouTube channel for ESV TV. Check it out. It's youtube.com/ESVTVSC. So SC is in StarCraft if it's hard to hear over the mic or something. But it's pretty sick. We're going to have all, you know, VODs up there. A little bit later than Twitch VODs. But, you know, non-subscribers can see VODs for free there. And we have some replay casting, player spotlights. We already have some Tager replays and some Slayer's Crank replays up there. So definitely check that out.
Absolutely, yeah. Make sure you follow specifically me on Twitter, but also Orb. And then also just at Korean Weekly on Twitter.
Yeah.
And all of those. So this game here, it looks like we will see a Forge opening from Lure, which is interesting. That's, of course, the standard, but we've really kind of been seeing a lot more gateway openings once again. So I was wondering, are we going to see Lure maybe do some kind of gateway opening? But doesn't look like that's going to be his plan at all.
I don't know, man. After those next stream games yesterday, I'm happy to see a Forge expand. 4-gate every game! I don't know what he was doing. He's actually a really good player. I don't know why he was doing that, but we're going to see that, was that a 15? No, 14 pool, okay.
Yeah, 14.
14 pool going up for Shine here. So he just has to know there's a probe in his base. I mean, sometimes Protoss players nowadays actually don't scout after pylon because they feel like, oh, what am I going to scout? They're going to go pool first anyways. But, you know, if you do scout after pylon, it just gives you that kind of forced pool first from the Zerg. Otherwise, they might go for that hatchery first if you can't block it. Shine actually moving out with this drone just a little bit too early. He's not going to be able to drop that hatchery. So if Lure does this correctly, he should be able to block that hatchery from going down for quite some time. But he's not quite able to drop that pylon yet. He needed to drop that Nexus. And generally against pool first, if you know Nexus first, you have to drop that Forge before you can drop this pylon, or your Forge will be too late for the Lings. So he can't quite actually drop that pylon to block the hatchery. You would have to just micro endlessly. Now he should be able to drop, though, if he wants.
Yeah, did he? I guess he started his queen. He could have made the hatchery, but either way, he's actually going to get it down. And, I mean, I guess that's fine. There's a lot of players these days who will even just go and take that third base right away, but that is kind of getting dangerous as some of the gateway builds are getting back. But either way, nothing crazy going on here, and as that Overlord gets closer and closer, he's going to see a pylon on the low ground, and he's going to immediately know that there's no kind of crazy one base play coming up.
And he immediately sends out a drone, so he wouldn't have done that, as you said, if he saw a gateway opening, but the second he sees that pylon, he's like, oh, okay, I can go 3 hatch, no gas, no problem. This is the standard against Forge fast expansion. You stay a base over the Protoss, and now we just get to kind of see this dynamic where it's like, all right, well, what's Lure going to choose? Because generally at this stage of the game, the Zergs are all kind of playing in similar fashions here. You know, they're going to try to rush up some roaches, play defensively, maybe get some spores or just some extra queens. But it's up to the Protoss. Are you going to go for some type of 2-base all-in? Are you going to go for maybe not an all-in, but a committed attack like +1 4-gate Zealot, or +1 4-gate Zealot with Void Ray? That can work as well. Or sometimes players just try to play a standard macro game. They try to take a third pretty early, maybe around the 8-minute mark or so, and then try to macro up after that, and, you know, get enough units to defend before the Roach Max hits them at around the 11 to 12-minute mark.
And Lure doing a nice job there with the one probe he did still have out on the map, and he sees that his opponent's taken that third hatchery, so he knows exactly what's up. He knows there's no kind of bizarre 2-base or play coming out, so like you said, it's just kind of a matter of time. We got to see what he's going to do. He's already taken, of course, both the gas in his main base, but nothing else natural yet, so not going too crazy on the tech here. He is well above 100 gas, 100 minerals, so he could start the +1 attack if you want, but look at that, actually. Going for a third gas at the natural.
We might be seeing a Stargate then. 3 gas can indicate that, but it's pretty interesting because usually when we'd see a Stargate nowadays, it would be for Void Ray plus 4-gate +1 Zealot. So he hasn't started +1 yet, so I'm shocked. He has so much gas saved up right now. He hasn't started. Oh no, it's a Robo. Interesting. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go with a Robo. You can just go for some like Warp Prism Harass. You can just go for some standard play with you know, Sentries and Immortals to try to take an expansion. Maybe some Stalkers in there with Blink later on. But he's actually chrono boosting not only his gateway making sentries, but also his warp gates. So I think he's maybe just going to go for one of those 4-sentry warp prism drops. It certainly seems likely, but it could still be one of those, you know, sentry immortal expansions.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right. You're right. He'll at least get out that warp prism along with the sentries and just go for some kind of harassment. It's the kind of thing where, you know, I feel like the Protoss player doesn't quite know how much damage they'll be able to do with it. It really depends how the Zerg player reacts, but this is just going to be so difficult to pull off, especially with that Overlord there. Really should be able to see any Warp Prism coming out quickly. And actually, he's already got 2 Observers queued up, so that is a very passive way to go about things here.
It really is. I mean, 1 Observer is totally understandable. You want to go figure out exactly what the Zerg is doing before you actually do this, because he saw the 3rd hatch go up, but, you know, sometimes players are going to go for a different strat. Like, a lot of Zergs on the ladder nowadays are actually, or especially on Korean ladder, are actually rushing up Hydras really quickly right after their first couple of Roaches. So you got to be careful and actually know what your opponent's doing. But, yeah, double Observer, that's going to delay his Immortals, that's going to delay his Warp Prism aggression by so long. I mean, I guess he hasn't been really chrono boosting his gateway, so he still is only about to be at 2 sentries, so wouldn't really be ready to go for that drop yet. But it does seem pretty bizarre. Now he's just going up to 3 gates total in a robo, not even 4-gate robo. This just it's unlike almost all PvZ play that I've been seeing nowadays. So it looks like maybe he's just going to try to take a really quick third out of this.
Yeah, I feel like he must. I mean, he's getting a third observer now, and it's like you don't make 3 observers then do a 2 base all in. That's just a poor way to go about things. He's already got a probe out here, so yeah, there goes the Nexus. So he is indeed going to be expanding here.
That is crazy, man. I can't wait to watch like how he's going to try to make this work, because this is one of the hardest things to do in PvZ right now, is just take that third. And if the Zerg does max out by the 11-minute mark, I mean, they got so many roaches just running up towards that third, trying to put on pressure. You need perfect force fields, and if your opponent gets burrow and burrow movement, that doesn't even end up working out for you. So we do see upgrades finally being chronoed out for Lure, and I do assume that he's just going to continuously produce Immortals out of that Robo for now. He has seen that his opponent has the double gas. He's seen the Roach Horn in the Evo Chamber and Lair Tech, so he knows it's not just going to be like, you know, roaches without speed or something. He is going to have speed. He is going to have +1. He could get burrow if he wants with that Lair Tech. He's going to have Overseers as well. Wow, 18 drones on the way. And it looks like Lure just going to go up to, what is that, 7 gates total? Yeah, 7 gateways total here. And he's just going to be pumping, I assume, you know, as many Sentries and Immortals as possible, and then switching into Stalkers and getting a Twilight Council to be able to, there it is, yeah, to continuous upgrades and get that so important Blink upgrade.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm liking what I'm seeing here with those 3. You know, this map. You know, if it was a different map, I'd be like, dude, you're not holding the third base. But this is a map where, as long as you have those observers in good positions and you're ready with your force fields, you really should be able to sit on these 3 bases. So we'll see exactly how Shine wants to do this. He is taking a 4th, so and of course getting a Spire and Infestation Pit too, and a Macro Hatch. So he's not, you know, he's not intent on just trying to end the game by maxing on roaches, but. I would expect at least some pressure to come out here with such a fast third.
Yeah, it looks like, interestingly, he's actually choosing to, you know, not do what basically any Zergs are doing nowadays. Nowadays, it's like, oh my god, the Protoss is taking a third. Do not let that happen. always max out, continue to remax, and just batter it down with roaches until it's dead. I mean, that's the Stefano style, basically. At least the beginning of it. And instead he's like, all right, you know what, that's fine, I'll just take another base. I'll just get even, you know, I'll just always stay 1 base up. I'm comfortable playing a super late game macro game with a Protoss, which is awesome to see. It's not something we see from Zergs very often. So, but Lure is in a little bit of trouble. He's got to be careful. He does. I love this, keeping just 2 sentries and an Immortal back at home, so he'll be able to force field if he needs. But he's got his main army at the third. Force fields go down, not bad at all. Segmenting this army quite well. These roaches are going to be forced to fall back. He might even be able to get a force field on the ramp. No, he can't quite. But overall, nice micro by Lure, picking off a lot of those roaches. I
mean, pull up the units lost tab, and you'll see just how good that went for him. Like, man, that's pretty good. And I mean, like, one of the units he lost was a probe, so he's lost nearly nothing. So he is just playing a near perfect game right now, and I just love this double forge style too. He's adding more cannons as well, so it'll be interesting to see his transition here. But I believe 13 mutas just popped out here, so this is where we're really gonna find out how good Lure is.
And I'm wondering, where did Lure see them? Because I'm looking for the Spire. He didn't see the Spire, but he already started cannons at all of his bases. So I guess his Overseer must have seen the mutas as they were or his Observer, excuse me, must have seen the mutas as they were popping out or something. Look at that, he even has Hallucination right now. Using some Hallucinated Phoenixes to get some extra map control. Check the corners of the bases, because you know, if your opponent's going mutas, they're very often going to take Ninja expansions. Lure is just playing so intelligently here, and it looks like Shine going to maybe go for some 2-pronged aggression, send some Lings and Roaches to the third, while he sends his mutas to the natural, but look, it's already completely shut down.
Yeah, I mean, this is just fantastic play. I really haven't been so impressed by a Protoss player in quite some time here. He's just, the upgrade advantage he's going to accrue is so good. I'd imagine he's going to start heading towards Templar tech pretty soon. And I mean, this is a map where you can just kind of slowly push out and get that 4th base, or just, you know, start applying some counter pressure once he gets Storm. But for now, he is definitely still stuck in this turtle mode, but he's done such a good job just kind of slowly adding in cannons that he's just completely prepared for any muta harass.
We even have Charge on the way, and I like him getting that upgrade ahead of time. That basically just means that as he transitions into Templar, he wants the ability to be able to spam Templar and then be able to actually use his minerals for Zealots and not have the Zealots be 100% useless. Just really nice play. Great force fields going down, keeping those roaches away. Second wave as well, keeping all those Lings away so we can safely engage into those Mutalisks. This is just really nice micro by Lure, but Shine's still doing quite a bit of damage here. Those mutas do have to be careful. He's starting to take quite a bit of damage. Those upgrades, as you said, from Lure.
Units lost, man.
Oh my god, he's at 2-2 upgrades, and right now Shine is only at 1-0 for his roaches and 1-0 just now for his mutas, and as you said, the units lost tab is disgusting right now.
Yeah, I feel like this may be a little bit of an overextension here, but it looks like actually going to still keep 2 of these Immortals alive. So he is just continuing to play fantastically here. He's now going to throw down that 4th base, continuing his upgrades, now warping in some Templar, and this is just really, really nice play from Lure. I mean, we're kind of gushing over Lure a ton here, but Shine is doing a great job here. He's just consistently macroing well. He does really need to get that 4th base up and saturated. He has the hat trick for a while now.
Yeah.
He's taking the geysers, but he really needs to mine from that. But for now, he's actually going for a big counterattack into the natural, and Lure way out of position here.
Oh, and he couldn't quite get the Zealot warp in to prevent the Lings from getting. That is so brutal to deal with. His entire army is trying to come back home, but he was out in the middle of the map just a little bit out of position. I know he might lose his Cybernetics core. That's hurts so bad, man. When you don't have your Cybernetics core, you can't make any Stalkers, you can't make any Sentries. You can't really do much at all. What are you gonna make? Zealots? Does he even have his Templar Archives yet? Can he even make? Yeah, he does.
He does.
But he's gonna lose that too. Oh no, and he doesn't even have a Storm started yet. So clearly not gonna be able to finish that upgrade in time. Getting your Storm Tech delayed against someone that's not just going for a couple mutas, but is actually going mass muta. Oh, it really, really, really hurts you because you need Storm to deal with that many mutas. You can't just continue to rely on just Stalkers.
But, I mean, Shine's 3rd base still isn't mining here, so it's not too grim of a situation, and with the 4th of Lure up, he can just delay a little bit longer, throw down some more cannons, and just be safe. It looks like he actually really wants to continue applying pressure, though, as his units continue to stream across the map here. An aggressive Blink actually going to be able to get some nice pot shots off on the mutas here.
Yeah, he's actually got some sentries, so he might be able to get the force seals, but they're just a little bit out of range. These Stalkers are getting surrounded. Nice Blink, though, escaping, using the terrain so well. Lure's playing to the map fantastically right now. That was such a nice move right there, but it looks like Shine just going to go for the counterattack. It's really hard to engage into that many Blink Stalkers. Looks like just Zealots and Immortals going to go right up into the natural of Shine right now. Not that many Spine Crawlers in position, so it's going to be a little bit hard to deal with while the Stalkers try to head home to deal with those mutas. They will be able to take out that 4th base, it looks like, though. In the meantime, maybe they'll be stopped by these Stalkers, but if they just target fire, he should be able to take that out. And that's definitely a nice little minor win there for Shine, but he still has to deal with all those Zealots and Immortals in his natural.
Oh, and the Muta's trying to flee here, but a nice Blink picking off a ton here. Once again, his upgrades 3-2 so nice on these gateway units here, and the Zealots in the natural really should be able to really cut down on that drone count. And you know, it's just so hard for a Zerg player because you want to just keep on making units, but he is going to need to replace those drones.
And now the Stalkers are in his natural. This is an awful position when, you know, all you have are mutas, and it's like, well, you don't really want to engage into Stalkers, but now he's getting some Ling reinforcements. That's what's so important. You need the Lings in there so the Stalkers are attacking the Lings while your mutas deal tons and tons of bounce damage. So the Stalker count is starting to dwindle here, but Lure does have a great position on the ramp. It looks like the muta count's starting to get a little bit too low as well, though, so both players want to fall back for now.
Yeah, we'll see. Is he going to make another Nexus? Yeah, there is the Emperor now. So it looks like he does want to just sit back. He has remade his Templar Archives here, so going to try and get back into that tech route, but it's just so tricky. He does have a pylon at near the bottom right of the map, so he will be able to warp in and keep harassing that 3rd base. And I mean, look at Shine's, or not 3rd base, 4th base. Look at Shine's 4th base. He's still not saturating that base here, so, you know, he's playing with fire.
He absolutely is, man. I mean, it's one of those situations where you don't necessarily have to mine minerals off it just yet if you don't want, but you should absolutely be mining gas off it this entire time while you're going mutas. I mean, you're not going to be able to continue making as many mutas as you want, and on top of that, you're not going to be able to get that tech switch into Hive Tech and getting Broodlords later on nearly as quickly if you haven't been mining that gas all game long. So Shine, I don't know, maybe it's just a little bit too prioritizing his micro, which is certainly very important when you go Muta-Ling. But that gas income is going to be so huge, and I'm really surprised he hasn't kind of, you know, taken the map, just like take opposite expansions on either side of the map. That's something that we very often see from Muta players playing this kind of counterattack, just pure counter, not ever engage style, but he's not going for that.
And the Zealots now attacking that 4th base while his main army pushes towards the natural here, and Shine is looking very scary right now.
Wait, you mean Lure?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I do mean Lure.
I was like,
exactly
this Protoss looks scary, yeah. I mean, this Archon's almost dead, but still 2 Archons, one about to die with a lot of Blink Stalkers. They have 313 upgrades. That is so huge. Muta's still only at 2-0 upgrades. This hatchery might even go down, even with the Mutas going back to defend it. It's so low. The Zealots do end up killing it, and that is just the nail in the coffin, essentially, for Shine. I mean, he's down on food. He's lost his natural. He's lost his 4th. All he has left is his 3rd mining. Meanwhile, there are Stalkers wreaking havoc in his main.
Yeah, and these Archons really going to make all the difference. The weak one does get focused down just about immediately there, but still, he can just trade so well, and these Mutas so injured, and there's the GG from Shine.
Wow, really well played by Lure. What I really want to see though, man, that was like a great macro PVZ. In fact, I think that's I don't want to like overstep here, but like one of the best PVZs I've seen in a while. So many PVZs
Yes.
nowadays are just like the Zerg just hits
Yeah.
5 SR and just sits there with their rally at the Protoss base and just like tries to go the third, and then if you get to late game, it's just like who can get a vortex off, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
refreshing. It was actually
Yes.
multi-pronged aggression constantly everywhere. But what I want to see is that build from Lure. I want to see can he actually hold off that type of 11 roach
Yeah.
max, 11-minute roach
I'm
max, you know?
curious, yeah.
So I'd love to see a game of that. But that was a great PVZ, man.
Yeah, I think that like without a doubt the best PVZ I've seen on that map. I mean, he just played so well. And like you said, the real question is would he be able to hold off that aggression? And it's the kind of thing where I imagine there's a lot of games where he misses the force field and then all the roaches stream up into his natural and he dies. But if you play perfectly, I feel like this is the perfect way to play this map. So I'm just impressed with you know, not only his play but just his approach to the game.
Yeah, I love like his willingness. We were talking about it. We were almost like pseudo criticizing it early on, but all those observers, man.
Yep.
He had full map vision. He knew exactly what tech his opponent was going for, and his positioning. He put one observer outside the ramp of his natural so that he knew he couldn't hold the Zanaga tower. You just can't do it against a Zerg for that long. So he had an observer there to watch for counterattack coming in, so he'd be ready with a force field, and he had one over next to the ramp for his third. So he was just prepared for everything, and he played excellently. So we're going to move into game 2 and see if perhaps Shine can make a comeback, or if Lure can show us some more awesome skills and some more builds that I'm going to definitely steal from him. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with that after this quick commercial break.